Hey guys, you're watching Better Relationships with Nick, where I help you have better relationships. And today we're talking about how to have better communication skills. And a couple things that I've learned in my life and that I actually practice are as follows. Number one, make things as simple, clear, and understandable as possible. Okay, oftentimes people really want to display how smart they are and talk about things in all these weird jargon. The best way to communicate if you are talking with somebody is to be direct, be clear, be concise. Okay? Passive communication and indirect communication is not easily understood. Have you ever heard the phrase? Now, I don't believe this phrase, but have you ever heard this phrase? Men are always like, oh, I'll never understand women. There's no possible way to understand women. And the reality of that situation is that they talk in indirect ways. Like, instead of saying, I think you're attractive, I'm interested in you, they will oftentimes say something like, oh, I'm looking for a husband, or something that's indirect where they're making a statement and hoping that you guess. Okay, so if you want to be a better communicator, you cannot be doing that. All right. You need to be direct and concise with exactly what you want. A female, for example, may say, if she's interested in you romantically, may say something along the lines of, man, I can't believe that person is in a relationship and I'm still single. Or she'll be like, yeah, man, I'm tired of being single. And say something like that. She's basically just dropping a hint. Okay, they also communicate in ways where it's nonverbal and body language. For example, let's just say you're at the gym or wherever you're at, and a female sees you and would like to talk to you. Well, she's gonna make a scenario where you guys cross paths and you have the opportunity to talk. What she's saying is, I want to talk, but I'm going to pretend like I don't. I'm going to communicate in these mixed signals or whatever, which is fine. That's how females communicate. But we're talking about how to be as effective communicator as possible, okay? Instead of, oh, you want to talk to somebody, instead of just standing around and like, oh, wow, now we cross paths and, oh, we're both standing here, okay? That is one way of communication, but it is not the most effective. The most effective is just being direct, okay? Sometimes people want to text you and pretend like they care about, oh, just wanted to let you know I've been thinking about you and just wanted to see how you were doing. Oh, how was your Christmas? Man, what's new in your life? Oh, by the way, remember those $20 you owe me? Yeah, I was just curious if you could send that over. Okay, so they make up this whole like long story about just getting to the point. Hey, just checking in. You owe me those $20. Just wondering if you could send that over. Boom. It's clear. It's concise. There's no fakeness to it, and that's that. The other thing is when I'm explaining a concept. Okay, so if I'm explaining a concept and we're all growing at this. If I'm explaining a concept to somebody, I need to explain it as simple as possible. Okay, so in roofing, when I was in roofing sales, I needed to explain a way to describe how the roof works without them having any understanding of how the roof works. So the way I would have to explain how your roof works is, hey, you know how asphalt cracks and you always have to get it resealed and things like that, you know, in the summer and the winter with all the temperature changes, you know how the asphalt that you're driving on always cracks? And so I'm putting a picture in their mind of something that they are already aware of, like, oh yeah, I know that asphalt, you know, always cracks. There's always potholes in the winter and in the summer and things like that, okay? So they are aware of that concept already. And I have to bridge the gap with a concept that I know they're aware of to my new concept, okay? And I'm making this clear and concise. All right, so your roof is made of three parts. It is a fiberglass matting. This is like a mesh structure, like the skeleton that holds the asphalt together, okay? It's the bones, okay? And then when we have the asphalt that is pressed into that, the fiberglass gives the asphalt its shape, and the asphalt fills in all the cracks and provides water resistance, okay? And on top of that, we now have your granules on top of your asphalt, okay? And what those granules do, they're little stones that protect the asphalt. So just like how I said, the road, when it's unprotected, often cracks. Well, that's due to heat and cold, expanding, contracting, and the sun directly affecting that, okay? Well, your shingles work the same way. The reason why it's so important to guard against granule loss is because the granules protect the asphalt from the sun. The asphalt protects the fiberglass from water, and the fiberglass gives the shingle shape, okay? So the way I'm describing that is in a way that's super easy and relatable for them to understand. So if I'm going to communicate a topic to somebody, I need to make it as simple and easily understandable, okay? And I hope you were able to follow what I was talking about with the roof there, okay? Generally, you can also read their body language and just realize that, oh, I can see that person looks a little confused, okay? They're like making body language like this. You know, they're confused. Something, this kind of body language, they're confused. Something doesn't make sense to them, okay? So, overall, let's get to the point here. Direct communication. Make things as easy as possible to understand. Use relatable concepts that they already understand in order to bridge their point to your point. On top of that, we also want to be able to just read their body language and just see if they're confused, so we can understand where they're coming from and explain the concept. Hey, it looks like you're not getting it here. Can I just ask what part is not making sense to you? And then let them explain, well, it seems like I'm going on this track and the pieces are not connecting, okay? The other thing is, we also want to identify when somebody is using flawed logic. If I want to communicate something to somebody may have this logic pattern in their brain, and they are tied to this logic pattern. So, it's almost like this. They believe that, well, in the past, A and B meant C, and I'm not sure how you're getting A and B mean D in this situation. So I'll notice when I'm communicating with somebody that somebody has a logic pattern in their brain that is telling them if this and this happened, then that doesn't matter. And they're missing a key component or something like that. Really the formula, they're thinking A and B, for example, A plus B equals D. And I have to educate them that, okay, hey, that's great. A plus B, you're on the right track, but we also need to factor in C equals D. A plus B plus C equals D. And the way I'm doing that is I'm just building a storyline. So when A is true, when B is true, when C is true, that equals D, not just when A is true plus when B is true, okay? So if that didn't make sense to you, just think about this. When A is blue and B is yellow, the outcome when you add those together is green, okay? And let's just say they're on the right track, but the shade of green is a lighter green, okay? So we need to factor in that A plus B, blue and yellow, we also need a white in there in order to lighten up the shade of that as well. So that's just the way that I would describe it. Sometimes people have a logic pattern based on a previous experience where they believe that something is true and it is not true. And you have to understand that that is not true, okay? You realize that what they think is not true, and then you just correct them. Okay, yes, I understand why you would believe that. For example, your asphalt shingle, I totally understand that you would believe that the fiberglass and just the asphalt would protect your roof just fine. I'm here to let you know, yes, it will temporarily, but over time, you have to factor in time to this. The weather is going to affect the longevity of that due to the asphalt not being as protected, okay? So that's the best way I can describe it. Obviously, I'm learning to be a communicator. I'm not amazing at it yet, but let's just do a quick recap of the points here. We want to be direct. We want to be simple and concise. We want to be able to read their body language and understand where they're coming from, and we want to be able to identify incorrect thought patterns or logic patterns that they have and be able to correct that. Is the way that I would describe those things, okay? If you have any questions, concerns, comments, snotty remarks, whatever you want to put in those comments, feel free and share that. If you want to add something to one of the points I made, this is a community here on YouTube. Your comment could help somebody else, okay? You could explain something better than I could, and your comment could help somebody understand that concept. I feel like maybe the logic, just from being self-aware, that logic portion at the end, maybe a little, I could have potentially figured out a way to communicate that better, but that's the way that it works in my brain. Some people, and the reason I think that is because of just like the way logical arguments are built. It's A plus B equals C, or A plus B plus C equals D. And that's the simplest understanding. Point 1, point 2, and point 3 are all necessary for the formula to equal point 4. And sometimes people are adding together point 1 and point 2, leaving out point 3 and wondering why it doesn't equal 4. All right, that's the best way I can describe that. So those are some tips I've learned to be a better communicator. Go ahead and smash that like button and have a wonderful day.